good to Earth for a really wonderful Christmas gift. It would make him happy. Something special he will never forget.
You're coming with us as a Christmas present.
Hello folks, okay, so the Galaxy S26 Ultra leaks have reached the stage where it's not even rumors anymore, it's basically a live soap opera. At this point, the only thing launching on schedule is my confusion. But today I've got the cleanest, most complete update on the Galaxy S26 Ultra, the launch timing, the 60 watts charging upgrade that Samsung already accidentally confirmed, and 6 new Galaxy AI features Samsung is keeping behind a velvet rope until the S26 drops. And then we're finishing with the wildest part. Android just pulled off something Apple fans used to call impossible. Let's get into it. So first, the S26 launch timeline is a mess. We started with one big claim. Samsung is pushing the launch. Unpacked in February, phones in stores in March. Then another report showed up like, relax, nothing's changing, maybe it's a week later than the S25. And now, we're right back where we started. February launch, March release again. This time, it's coming from Ice Universe plus a trusted Korean outlet, which means it's not just someone's cousin who owns a calendar. It actually carries weight. So here's the most likely scenario. Expect Unpacked in the second half of February and the phones landing about 2 weeks later in March. And the funniest part, nobody knows exactly why. It could be a last-minute reshuffle with the Plus and Edge models, it could be RAM supply issues the whole industry is fighting, or it could be something else behind the scenes that Samsung will never admit. Because Samsung would rather release a phone with a built-in flamethrower than say, yeah, we had a scheduling problem. So the takeaway is simple. If you're waiting for S26 Ultra, plan mentally for a later Unpacked and a March release window. Now let's talk about something real. And honestly, overdue. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is getting bumped to 60 watts wired fast charging, and Samsung already launched the charger. That's not a leak, that's basically Samsung walking into the room holding the evidence and acting surprised we noticed. And here's a detail I weirdly love. Samsung says when the charger is plugged in but not charging anything, it pulls 5 milliwatts of power. That's 0.005 watts, which in real life translates to your charger is basically sipping electricity like it's trying not to be rude. Now let's talk about something bigger than Samsung. Google recently did something that Apple fans used to treat like a myth. They basically made AirDrop-style sharing work with Android using Quick Share. At first this was limited. It sounded like a Pixel 10 thing, but now Qualcomm has confirmed it's coming to all Android phones running Snapdragon. And that's the key shift. This is no longer a Pixel feature, this becomes an Android feature. And that matters because AirDrop isn't just file sharing. AirDrop is social pressure. It's the send it to me moment where someone quietly realizes, wow, it would be easier if everyone here used iPhone. That's why Apple loves it. It's not about excitement, it's about control. So if Android is now matching that convenience across Snapdragon devices, Apple loses a chunk of ecosystem advantage. Not completely, but enough that it forces something Apple hates. Actual competition, hardware versus hardware, software versus software, value versus value, pricing versus pricing. No more hiding behind exclusivity. Now, here's the part that might end up being the real story of the S26 Ultra. Because hardware is important, but software is where Samsung loves to hide the actual upgrades. Even though One UI 8.5 beta is already live, Samsung is clearly holding back a bunch of Galaxy AI features, and the rumor is these features are being saved for the Galaxy S26 lineup as launch exclusives. So let's go through the 6 big ones. The headline feature is called Now Nudges. In simple terms, it tries to predict what you're about to do next based on what's on your screen, and then it proactively suggests the next step. This is basically Samsung's answer to Google's Magic Cue from Pixel, and Samsung breaks it into 3 types. First, contextual nudges recall important info. This remembers things you've seen before, like screenshots, notes or messages, and surfaces them right when they become relevant again. Example, you screenshot a flight confirmation. Later you open a travel app and it brings up the flight details automatically. Second, autofill nudges fill out forms easily. This is autofill but smarter. It recognizes repeated forms across apps and websites and offers to fill them out using your personal data, verified through improve biometrics. Third, action nudges, speed nudges. If someone sends you a location, it suggests maps. If a date appears, it suggests adding it to your calendar. And look, yes, it sounds similar to Google's idea, but copying isn't automatically bad when the thing you're copying is actually useful. The real question is whether Samsung can make this feel helpful without making it feel like your phone is a backseat driver. Next is text-to-image inside Photo Assist. Basically editing photos using prompts. You type what you want to add, remove or change in a photo. And it gets even more interesting because Samsung is also pushing blending elements from one photo into another. You pick an image from your gallery, tell Galaxy AI what to extract, and then describe how it should appear in the target photo. Samsung even demoed adding a ball of yarn to a cat photo so it looks like the cat is actually playing with it. Google can do similar tricks, but Samsung baking it directly into the Gallery app is a big deal, because features like this only matter when they're fast and easy enough that normal people actually use them. Next is a new 3D parallax effect for lock screen wallpapers. It adds depth and motion. We even have leaked video showing how it works. It's not revolutionary, but it's clean, it's modern, and it makes the phone feel more alive without being gimmicky. Then there's notification summary, and this generates summaries based on your notification history from the past 24 hours, and the big detail here is privacy. It's expected to be processed locally on device, not sent to the cloud. If Samsung nails this, it could be genuinely useful, especially for people drowning in notifications every day. Next is AI scam detection during calls. Similar to Google's scam detection, where AI analyzes tone and behavior to warn you about potential fraud. Internal references suggest these might initially be limited to Korean units, but hopefully it expands globally, because this is the kind of feature that's legitimately valuable, especially for elderly users. And finally, privacy protection when sharing images. This feature detects sensitive information inside photos and gives you options to blur, pixelate or fully redact it. And Samsung even lets you compare the edited and original versions side by side before sending. That's a small touch, but it's exactly the kind of small touch that prevents huge mistakes. Now, the big question, will older Samsung phones get these? Probably eventually. Samsung usually keeps features exclusive to the newest models for a few months, then slowly rolls them out. But if you're using something older than 2024, like an S23 Ultra or earlier, you probably won't get everything. Some of these features rely heavily on on-device AI power, especially things like notification summaries and proactive nudges. Samsung might offer scaled-down versions, but we'll have to see. If you're on newer devices like the S25 Ultra or Z Fold 7, you're probably safer. So here's the big picture. The S26 Ultra launch looks delayed. February unpacked, March release. 60 watts charging is real. Android is closing the gap on one of Apple's strongest lock-in tools. And Samsung is betting that AI features, the practical kind, will be the real reason to upgrade. Now I want to know what you think. If Samsung really ships now nudges the right way, is that something you'd use? And do you care more about hardware upgrades this year, or are you officially in the software features decide my upgrade era? Either way, 2026 is about to be a straight-up phone ecosystem cage match. Anyway guys, I will keep you updated. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.